Hi guys, welcome to the channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt Garvey and we are here to talk about making comics today. And for those that do know me, you're watching this thinking, Matt, why on earth are we getting a second video this week? We already got your tutorial at Monday at 5 o'clock as always. So what's going on? Well, since I started the channel 11 months ago, the outpouring of support I've had from you guys has been absolutely fantastic and I really do appreciate it. But I'm having more and more creators reach out to me privately and ask me to give some feedback on their comics. And you know what? Always happy to do it as long as I've got time. But what I thought I would do is I would invite creators to send me their comics, and then what I can do is I can do a video for them and share those tips and advice for everyone out there. So what this is going to be a critical review on a Thursday where I look at your book, and this isn't me reading those books and going I give it 4 stars. This is me looking at the technical aspect of that comic and looking at the lettering, the colouring, the writing, that kind of thing, and just giving you some feedback that hopefully will help turn a good comic into a great comic, and tiny little tweaks, that kind of thing. But the important thing to remember is this is coming from a place of love. This is not coming from like hurtful. I'm not going to be going after creators. I'm not going to pick on people, that kind of thing. This is me giving some positive advice that you would hopefully get from an editor, but you don't have an editor, so use me to do that. That's what I'm going to be here for. So if you would like me to do this for your comic as well, feel free to send me a PDF of that book. You can send it to info@garveycomics.com. There will be a link in the description for that. But also do me a favor, if you enjoy this type of content and you enjoy the advice that I'm giving on that content, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a nice comment, because it lets me know that you're enjoying it, and I'll do more of it, because that's why I'm making this channel. I'm making this channel for you guys and I want to help you out as much as I can. So without further ado, let's do the first one. Okay, so this is the first comic we're going to start with. This is Maru Kiru, Destroy the Moon by Brendan Albetski. Brendan, thank you so much for sending this over. I really do appreciate it. The first person through the wall always gets bloody, so I appreciate you sticking your head above the parapet and going, Matt, have a look. Let me know what you think. And everyone that's watching, all Brendan's details and links to where you can buy the book are going to be in the description as well, so make sure you go and check that out. But let's have a look. Let's see what we can do. Okay, Brendan, looking at your cover, absolutely love your colour palette that you use throughout the book. I think it's very bold, very striking, very nice bright pinks and oranges and greens, that kind of thing. The only problem I see with your cover is that logo doesn't really jump out. And what I mean by this, so if I zoom out from where we are, it's hard to read what that title is of your book from a distance, which I know doesn't make a big deal, because obviously when someone sees it on your comic book table, that kind of thing. But you need to kind of imagine is if your comic was on a shelf, would someone be able to see this and read this from a distance? Yes, they see the nice big pink hair and stuff like that in the background, and the big yellow sword. But I can't read that logo, and to me that's something that you may want to look at, especially because if I get my color picker out, that yellow that you're using for the logo is very similar to the yellow that you're using for the sword, so they kind of blur into one. My personal opinion, and take it or leave it, and again, this is your comic, you do exactly what you want. Remember, this is coming from a good place, is maybe I would use a different color to make that logo stand out a little bit more. Maybe like a bright neon green, which separates it from the background a little bit more. But I would potentially look at maybe designing a more chunkier logo so people can read the actual title of the book a little bit more clearer. Personal opinion, take it or leave it, but feel free to disagree with me. But that's what I've tweaked it with. That's your original, and from a distance, your eyes drawn to that green a little bit more, especially because you've got the warm colours of the pink in the background. It's making that green jump off the page a little bit more off the cover. So that's what I would say with regards to the cover. But let's actually jump into the book. Absolutely love your art style, love the color palette that you've chose. I'm loving the oranges, the greens, the purples, that kind of thing. The problem you've got is, much like the colors on the cover, it's hard as a reader, as someone's eye, to look at the page and know where to look. And I get it. I know that we're meant to be looking at the woman because she's got the the nice purple hair, that kind of thing. But if I was to throw a black layer over this page that we see now, you can see that all of these colors in the midground, especially, and the foreground, like these rocks and these dead robots here, they are all very similar on the actual spectrum of contrast. So look, I've just clicked the rock. It's a medium grey. clicking the ground behind your main character, it's a little bit lighter. The robots, getting a little bit higher, and clicking on the skin color of your main character, again, it's around the same area. So your character's kind of getting a little bit lost in the mid-ground there. So in my personal advice would be to, tweak your color palette just a little bit and use some darker colors to try and separate the foreground, the midground, and the background a little bit more. So, for example, again, this is me making it look absolutely ugly, so I do apologize, but this is the kind of thing that I would do. But try and do the same with your color palette if you do get a chance to go back in and tweak it. Is, using the rocks here and the robots here, just darken them up a little bit. So what that does is that's framing your character more. So as a reader, I know where I'm meant to be looking. I'm meant to be looking past that rock, past those dead robots, to your character, because at the moment, without them, my eye's drawn to that red rock because it's bright red or orange, shall we say, depending on the color you're looking for. And the green, they're both contrasting colors. That's where my eye is drawn first, when I should be looking at your actual heroine. So that's what I would suggest, and then potentially lighten up the background as well, because again, it sets your character off from that. And again, apologies for making your art look really ugly by tweaking the colors, but if you look at it with a black layer over it compared to yours, this is the tweaks that I've done. There's a little bit of a darker separation between the foreground, your characters in the midground, and then the background is nice and light. If I take the colors that I've tweaked out, all kind of sits on that same plane. So that's something that I would potentially go back and maybe tweak. Also, you've done it on other pages, I've noticed, maybe use some color holds, to lighten these black lines, for the background and the smoke. Again, what that will do is that will push your character forward more and push the background more. But, apologies if this is sound like I'm teaching you how to suck eggs, but I'm not an artist, but, I'm just saying it as I would actually see it. Also, we need to have a chat about your lettering, sir. The lettering, I enjoy. I love the fact you've got these big air-filled balloons. Time and place for it, and I think with your book it goes really, really well, and I really like what you've done with that. But what I would suggest is maybe look at the shape of your text inside the bubbles a little bit more, and try and go for that diamond shape. So what I mean is, so if we have a look at this bubble here, if we tweak it just a little, it looks more like a diamond shape, and that's the kind of shape that you want to go for when you're actually doing your lettering. So that's yours and that's mine. So that's what I would do, is don't be afraid to use single words at the top of your balloon and at the bottom of your balloon if it's going to help you get that nice diamond shape, because then it looks like it fits in the balloon a little bit more. Now, the other thing we need to chat about with your lettering is the capitalization of your eyes, because, if an eye is on its own, like it is here, it really needs to have a crossbar top and bottom with it. If it's on a word like you've done here, like if, it's that kind of thing, you don't need capitalization. Can't even say that word. But what we'll find is you've not put the capitalization, the bars on eyes at the beginning of the comic, but when we look further in the comic, you have. So you've missed a few, buddy. So you need to go back and you need to tweak those. So I would have another look at that. Also, looking at this page, I don't know what's happened with this panel, but your main character has no light and shading on it. It's the only panel in the comic that doesn't have it. Makes it kind of stand out a little bit for the wrong reason. So maybe I would go back and add some render into her, some rim lights and some shadows, and, like you've done on like the character's face here and here as well. So if it's intentional, apologies, sir. But, to me that stands out that it hasn't been done. So, and again, looking at lettering, I would move, that of to up there, and move it of winning hearts a little bit crossed, just to try and get that diamond shape again. Again, these are just tiny little tweaks. There's nothing wrong with the comic, but these are just the tiny little tweaks that I'm suggesting that, are going to take a good comic to a great comic, because it's shown that you've done all the bits that you need to do. So again, minor tweaks with regards to lettering. Again, this is yours. You know, don't be afraid to put single words on top of, you know, at the top of the bubble, you know, just to get that nice diamond shape. It's just going to help you a little bit more. It just looks like it fits in the balloon just a little bit better. So, and again, going back to what I was saying before about the foreground, midground and background, this page is another great example because you've got your main character there, you know, and you've got this chap in the ship, and our eyes don't know where to land, and we don't know, you know, who's in the foreground, who's meant to be in the midground, and who's meant to be in the background, because the contrast of the colors is all the same. So again, if I throw another black layer over this page, get me pipette out, look at the little gray dot again, you know, it's all not really moving around. It's all very similar for the foreground and the midground for your main character and this other chap here. So what I would suggest is use the colors like I said before, but, you know, maybe throw some color holds over it just to push, you know, characters a bit further away like I've done here. Again, very roughly, and I'm sorry to, you know, completely destroy your art, but I'm just showing it as an example. So, you know, that's with the holds, that's without the holds. It just pushes that character back a little bit further. So that's what I would go back and tweak if you can. But it's a good comic, dude. It's a great comic. I think you've done an amazing job. You know, some light tweaks with regards to the colouring and the lettering. Really enjoyed the story. You know, someone wanted to kill the moon, or kill the moon god, shall we say. It was really good. I really happy that I got a chance to read it. Hopefully these pointers have helped and give you something to think about, you know, when you go back and, you know, have a little tweak, or, you know, when you do the subsequent issues. But dude, you're on the right path, and hopefully this has helped, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to pick up Brandon's comic, you know, in the link in the description, and we'll do this again soon. Take care. Cheers.